It is Saturday night at 7 o'clock, and the opening band is probably just getting ready to take the stage at the Steel Panther show, which my son Aiden talked me into taking him to tonight, even though we couldn't get the meet and greet tickets. So we are on our way down 71 to campus to the Newport Music Hall, a club I played when I was a kid, to see a band that spoofs 80s hair metal bands, of which I was one and played that very club that they're playing now. So this should be good. They're dirty and they're entertaining, and I heard their bass player wears so much makeup that he's got a vanity on stage so he can redo his makeup between songs. My stomping grounds when I was probably 19, 20, 21 years old, right in that neighborhood. First bar that I played would have been way down there. It was called Neely B's, and it was a terrible little tiny bar. There was water on the floor. You could electrocute yourself and die playing music in that bar. And then after 17, 18, 19, we got good enough that we opened for bands like the local band, The Gods, right there at the Newport, and played in front of, I would say, probably 1,500 people, maybe 2,000 The Gods could put in the Newport Music Hall. And then finally we got good enough that we could play, and with one other band we could fill the place up mostly by ourselves. So this is like coming home. I think the last time I might have played in the Newport would have been just over 2 decades ago, and I'm here to see Steel Panther with this young man. Just back from the show with my son, and I'm just thinking about showing up at the Newport Music Hall and recognizing the tribe that I used to belong to. And it's interesting to see that a lot of people, even at a very advanced age, tried to keep their hair, mostly unsuccessfully. They wear the same clothes that we wore at that time. They're in black. They've got tattoos showing. They have piercings showing. And everybody knows that they belong to the tribe. And that's the thing about rock and roll and heavy metal. And it's the same thing about every other kind of category of tribe that you can think of. As we pulled into the Newport, I looked and there were a bunch of college kids. And right next to the venue, there was an outdoor DJ and there were people dancing. And all of those people were dressed exactly alike. They looked exactly alike. They were all part of the same tribe. And that tribe was directly across from this other tribe. And so there's this massive contrast of people wearing bright colors and dancing to happy, upbeat dance type music at a very, very high volume. And then right across the street, everybody dressed in black, waiting in line to see a band that's really spoofing hair metal bands. But you know who belongs to the tribe. And so there's an immediate camaraderie and an immediate connection and immediate acceptance, because the culture is so strong, regardless of what it is, that you immediately know which tribe you belong to. And I no longer belong to that tribe. I've left that tribe. I left that tribe a long time ago. But I saw the tribe and I recognized the tribe. And it's a very, very interesting thing to go back into that situation, to see a show at a place where you played to that same tribe 20 plus years ago. So I'm just thinking right now about what it means to belong, what it means to be accepted by a group of people, and what it means for the outcasts and the people who are different and the people who have a different view of the world and a different view of themselves and their place in it. When they find that tribe and they have that sense of belonging that outside of the tribe they no longer have. And I felt for the first time in this tribe, at least as somebody who can at least be introspective enough to think about this, that I felt like I was the outcast. I was no longer part of this tribe because I didn't fit with the tribe anymore. I didn't look like the tribe. I didn't show up in the same kind of car as the tribe. I didn't feel the same way that the tribe felt about what was going on, even though there's a lot to say about Steel Panther. Their lyrics are dirty intentionally, and what they're doing is they're spoofing Motley Crue and Poison with a lead singer with a really good voice who also happens to have a PhD in English literature from Berkeley and who was a professor at Texas A&M, but decided to come up with some creative, resourceful way to use his wits and his talent together to make a mockery of 80s hair metal bands, of which I was one. And that part to me was entertaining. And so I'm just thinking about what it takes to say, I have this talent and what I wanted to do died, so now I'm going to find a way to make money. And they make about $75,000 a show, and they probably play 100 days a year, so they've got a nice little business running. And they found a tribe, and that tribe needs them, and they need that tribe, so everything worked out perfectly. I'm Anthony Iannarino. This is Everyday. Do hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you tomorrow.